Nations connection.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. Quite the honor this week for a new board member of the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands. Take a look. St. Thomas native Rashida Hodge got to ring the NASDAQ opening bell Tuesday morning. She's second from the right on your screen. Hodge recently joined the CFVI Board of Directors and is in New York City for the launch of the Black Women on Boards startup event. The new Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands board member rang the bell along with the Black Women on Boards group as the exchange honors Patricia Roberts Harris, who became the first black woman on a Fortune 500 board back in 1971. After several legislative attempts to restore solvency to the government employee retirement system, Government House says stabilization has been reached. Governor Albert Bryan Jr. signed legislation on Tuesday that will refinance matching fund bonds and create a financial path within the government to stabilize GERS. USVI News' Ali Bourne-Vanek brings us the details and shares the timeline of this new stabilization.
The government employees retirement system is now stabilized according to GERS. Governor Albert Bryan Jr. signed legislation that allows the VI government to refinance the rum cover over matching fund bonds. The savings from these bonds will now be used to fund GERS. The signing of the legislation took place at Government House. It's the first official function there since the building was destroyed in the 2017 hurricanes. The path to this now act took a reported 4 attempts before gaining a consensus at the legislature. But these attempts led to the formation of a Senate subcommittee on GERS. With that and collaboration, the legislation was approved. Government House says that the savings from these new interest rates will help fund GERS for at least 30 years and protect the pensions of about 9,000 retirees. In St. Thomas, Ali Bourne-Vanek, USVI News.
Good news for sure, and more now on the Frontier and Spirit Airlines merger we first told you about. We're learning today it could be good news for the Caribbean region. Frontier Airlines has announced it plans to buy Spirit Airlines for a reported nearly $3 billion. The deal would create the nation's 5th largest carrier. Both airlines fly into and out of the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico at discounted rates. And according to the companies, the combined airline would be more competitive against its larger rivals and give travelers more option. Here's how experts say the deal could really impact flyers.
Frontier and Spirit are joining forces. The two largest low-cost airlines in the U.S. are hoping to merge.
They have very similar business models, very low fares, fees for all the extras, things even like carry-on bags, but they are overall generally the cheapest way to fly.
And if the deal is approved, it would create the 5th largest airline in the nation. But what does this mega merger mean for flyers?
Probably not a good thing for the average American flyer, simply because having more airlines and more competition in the market generally drives down lower fares.
It's very rarely the case that airline mergers are good for the consumer, at least in the narrowest sense.
Experts agree that fares aren't likely to get any lower. It's still unclear what brand the two companies would fly under, but Frontier says the combined company would offer more than 1,000 daily flights to over 145 destinations. And travel experts say the merger could give travelers more options to fly to mid-sized cities as well as underserved regions, perhaps adding more flights to islands here in the Caribbean.
You might start to see a lot of Caribbean islands that maybe never had budget service before. You might start to see a lot more interesting options to Mexico or to Central America.
Frontier and Spirit say the deal will allow them to grow and hire more employees. But before it comes a reality, the merger has to be approved by federal antitrust regulators.
You don't have to worry about this in the context of your summer 2022 travel plans. It's going to take time for this merger to be approved by the Department of Justice.
All right, certainly good news for the Caribbean region. The path to approval, though, is still uncertain for Frontier and Spirit. The Biden administration has taken a much more aggressive approach on antitrust issues compared to the previous administration. It recently blocked an alliance between American and JetBlue that fell short of a full merger. Increasing competition in the airline industry is just one of the issues that the Biden administration has cited as a priority. So we will have to wait and see how this all plays out. And speaking of air travel, Delta Airlines is asking the federal government to create a national no-fly list for passengers who have been disruptive either in a terminal or on an airplane. As Elise Preston explains, the idea is not a new one and may actually be hard to implement.
Amid skyrocketing cases of air rage incidents like these, Delta Airlines is asking the federal government to put passengers convicted of unruly behavior on a national no-fly list. CBS News obtained this letter from Delta CEO Ed Bastian to the Justice Department, saying a list would serve as a strong symbol of the consequences of not complying with crew member instruction. Airline industry analyst Henry Hartefelt.
I think it is an idea whose time has come. No one, whether an airline employee or a passenger, should be subject to verbal or physical attacks.
The FAA says there were more than 5,000 reports of unruly passengers in 2021. Most were tied to compliance with mask wearing. The agency is now partnering with the TSA to remove disruptive travelers from TSA PreCheck eligibility. Most airlines have their own no-fly list for unruly passengers, but they don't share them with each other. Industry analysts say they could share them, or they could hand the names to a federal agency.
What information should be collected? How is that shared? And how do you make sure that the information is not abused?
Hartefelt says a national list could still be months, if not years away.
Safety is our job one.
Lynn Montgomery is the union president for Southwest flight attendants. She says one way to keep everyone safe now is to keep alcohol service suspended while there are mask mandates.
There is a little bit where profit is being put first when we feel that it is unsafe.
Next week, Southwest joins a growing list of airlines resuming alcohol service. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Travel analysts say for a national list to work, it would need to offer accused unruly passengers an opportunity to clear their names. So the 2022 Winter Olympic Games are now well underway in Beijing, and there is one sole representative of the U.S. Virgin Islands who you'll want to make sure to watch this week. She's 36-year-old Katie Tannenbaum, and she'll be competing for gold this week in the women's skeleton. Tannenbaum is one of 224 U.S. athletes, and again, the only one representing the VI. According to her bio, she's a math teacher at the University of the Virgin Islands. Now, she posted a bummer of an update last week on her Instagram page. Just a few days into her Olympic experience, she tested positive for COVID-19, so she had to miss carrying the Virgin Islands flag at the opening ceremonies. But the good news is she's asymptomatic, according to her post, and feeling fine. As per guidelines, she's been in isolation and hoping to test negative before the skeleton races at the end of this week. On social media, she said, quote, "As our sole athlete at these games, I am honored for the part I have played to help make that happen. Best of luck to her. We will be watching." So how can you catch her in action? The women's skeleton races will take place this Friday, February 11th at 9:30 in the morning and February 12th at 8:20 p.m. China Standard Time. So that's actually February 10th at 9:30 p.m. and February 12th or 11th rather, at 8:20 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. And experts say there's a lot we can learn from Olympic athletes like Tannenbaum when it comes to a healthy diet. Here's reporter Mandy Gaither with more on how you can eat like an Olympian.
Going for the gold. Athletes now seeing action in Beijing, hoping their hard work leads to victory. And you can win too when it comes to healthy eating habits if you view food as fuel.
What this means is generally a diet rich in carbohydrates, which gives them the preferred fuel for their muscles and their brain when they exercise. And they want protein to help repair muscles and sometimes build muscle, and fats, which are important for vitamin absorption, and just to feel full after meals.
Cleveland Clinic psychologist and registered dietitian David Creel says athletes choose specific foods that help them stay both mentally and physically healthy. He says we should all strive to eat like an Olympian. That means eating things like lean proteins, fresh produce, whole grains, and healthy fats like avocados or nuts. Creel says the timing of meals is also important. He suggests not skipping meals and eating in moderation. Another part of being healthy, making sure you stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, and give your body the rest it needs.
If someone doesn't sleep well, they get up late, they skip breakfast, they make poor choices throughout the day, or they may overeat late at night.
Creel says food plays a huge role in your health, and nourishing your body can help you succeed. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And Creel says sleep is crucial for everyone. Even if you're not an athlete, how much you need depends on your age. The CDC recommends those over 18 get at least 7 hours of sleep a night.